Hello and welcome, or welcome back if you're a returning viewer to the channel. WB here, and in this video what I want to do is show you how you can install the Windows Assessment and Deployment Kit as well as the Windows pre-installation environment that's going to be an important part of your Windows 11 deployments and imaging strategies, and even more important as Windows 10 is coming end of life very soon. As always, I ask if you like what you see on the channel, be sure to subscribe, click the notification bell, like, share, comments are always welcome, and then check out the description below for the link to our community Discord server so that we can continue this discussion. All right, everybody, let's dive in. In this demonstration, I want to show you how you can install the Windows ADK for your own deployments. I'm also going to show you how you can download and install the WinPE add-on for the ADK. You can find these two files at the following location. I would also encourage you to make sure that you pay attention to your lesson notes, because inside of your lesson notes you will also find these URLs as well. Now, when you scroll down, there are two hyperlinks that are our focus here. The first one is the download Windows ADK 10.1, and you can see 2600 here. And then we also want to utilize this hyperlink here to download the WinPE add-on for the WinADK as well too. Now, once you've done that, you will notice in your downloads folder that you have two files here, right? One containing the WinPE setup, the other one containing all of the other deployment tools that we need inside of the Windows Assessment and Deployment Kit. So let's go ahead. Next up, we're going to go ahead and run the very first one, the ADK setup, so that we can install our deployment tools. And when we do that, you'll see that they both start out the same. They both got that same tile, modern UI type interface here. And it's going to point us to where the location of our Windows kits. Maybe you've seen in previous demonstrations the Windows kit location. Notice where it's going to install it here. Be aware of that too. Now, if you happen to want to maybe use this on a separate computer, you can also change up where it is downloaded. It'll download the entire kit to your downloads folder in the user's profile here. But we'll go ahead, we'll choose next. And what it's going to do is it's going to ask us about, do we want to accept the privacy agreement? I'm going to go ahead and just say yes to that. And then we have to accept the end user license agreement here. And here are the variety of utilities and tools, if you will, that we have to utilize inside of Microsoft's Windows ADK. Notice we have the ACT, the Application Compatibility Tool, the deployment tools. Notice we have the Windows Configuration Designer. Used to be called the Imaging and Configuration Designer. It hasn't changed as far as in the ADK is, but it is just a newer coat of paint over a technology we've had for a while. Notice we have our USMT. This is going to come in handy in some of our later lessons when we, or demonstrations when we talk about the user state migration tool. So you're definitely going to want to have that one if you want to practice with us. And the deployment tools are going to definitely be needed for any kind of image servicing that you do. So for instance, we're going to need these in combination with the WinPE add-on, and it'll give us the deployment imaging and servicing environment that we can utilize in order to create our Windows PE disk, and it also gives us the Windows System Image Manager, where I'll show you how to load in a Windows image in a demonstration and create an answer file. So the other one here that we have too, when we talk about licensing and activation, which we have some lessons on that, is the Volume Activation and Management tool. This could also be coupled with your WDS server, your Windows Deployment Services server. That WDS server could then also be running the Volume Activation Management tool, so it can handle your licensing at scale too. We also have the Windows Performance Kit. This contains two different utilities, a recorder and an analyzer. If we select it here, you can see, and then XPerf too. The ones that we talk about in our lesson here are the ability to capture performance information, and then the analyzer allows us to visualize that information. If you happen to be doing things like application virtualization, you can use AppV as well. That goes kind of beyond what we're doing here when it comes to deployment of our Windows operating systems. But it does allow you to virtualize an application so that it can be utilized across multiple platforms. All right. And then again, you can see some additional ones too, like for instance, the Media Experience Analyzer there. Now I'm going to go ahead, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave what we have here, and I encourage you with some demonstrations that if you want to follow along the demonstrations as well, you will install these same utilities too. Last thing, keep in mind the disk space that's available here. And then we choose install. And it takes a bit. It's going to go through the process of reaching out to Microsoft, and it's going to pull down these utilities, essentially in a click-to-run type manner. And when these features are installed, we can verify that we have the assessment and deployment kit, and then we'll move over into installing the ADK WinPE add-on as well. So we're going to use the magic of TV here and speed this up a little bit so that you don't have to watch a progress bar, as always. And we'll come back when this finishes installing. And here we go. We can see that the Windows Assessment and Deployment Kit has been installed, and we can locate it by going to the Start button. We can choose All, and then scroll down to where you see W, and we'll find under there Windows Kits. And here we can see that we now have the available Windows Assessment and Deployment Kit tools, right? So we see the deployment and imaging tools environment. So if we launch this up, this gives us the ability where we could run the copy PE command if we have the Windows pre-installation environment installed. I'll show you that coming up. Again, kind of going back there, notice that we've got the Performance Analyzer, Performance Recorder. Again, kind of going back to the W's here. We can view the tools that we now have access to. We've got the Windows System Image Manager. Launching this up, it's probably, see if it wants to find a WIM file, but this is where we can create our answer files by loading in a Windows image. It'll create a catalog file that contains all the components and the packages here that we could then turn around and add to create our answer file and modify the properties, right? So there you have it. We have the Windows Assessment and Deployment Kit has been successfully installed. We're going to go ahead and choose close to that, and we're going to launch the next one here, which is the ADK WinPE setup, and we can specify a location. If we want to save this for another computer, right, transfer this over to another computer, we can. I'm going to go ahead and just keep the install as the default location. Notice where it is, Program Files, x86, again, Windows Kits inside of 10. All right, and then we'll choose Next. And here is the Windows Kit privacy, just like we did when we went through the installation for the ADK. No different here. The license agreement, have to accept that. And then here is the one component that we're going to be adding to the ADK, right? And you can see that it has two different architectures here. Again, around just under 4 gigs, right? But we have the 64-bit architecture and then the ARM-based 64-bit architecture as well, too. And it is around a 3.8 gig installation, and then from here we can just choose Install. And just like the ADK that we did here, not the PE add-on, what we can see here is that it is now going to add that. Now, I will tell you the one thing that's a little bit different when it adds this, when we go to our Windows kits, so going back to the Start button, all apps, and then down here at the bottom under Windows Kits, right? Notice that you see the utilities that you have here, right? You have the Windows Configuration Designer here, vamped, right? But one thing that you're not going to see in this list is the Windows pre-installation environment, right? We're going to utilize it with the deployment and imaging tools environment, but I will show you how we can verify that it has been installed, because there's a location, and it is, once it gets installed here, I'll show you how to verify that you have the Windows pre-installation environment installed so that you can start creating your own customized WinPE boot environments, and it's also going to come in handy if you want to follow along in the demonstrations in the course. All right, and here we go. The pre-installation environment has been installed, and like I said, one of the things that we can do here is verify that it is installed. So we're going to navigate to the location that we've seen in the installer process, the installation process. If you have to, pause, rewind the video, and you can find that location. But we're going to go to File Explorer here. We're going to go to Local Disk C. We're going to go Program Files x86. I'm going to go to Windows Kits. Inside of here there's 10. And if we look inside of 10, we'll see the Assessment and Deployment Kit. And when we select that, one of the things that we'll notice down here is we now have the pre-installation environment. All right. And when we look in here, one of the things that we're going to see is that we have our AMD 64-bit platform, right, about a gig, and we have just under a gig, right, the ARM 64, right, so your mobile processors, and you can see a couple of the commands that we're going to utilize in a demonstration when I show you how to basically build your own WinPE environment there. We'll use copy PE and then make WinPE media. So there you have it, everybody. That is how you get the Windows ADK, the Assessment and Deployment Kit, installed, as well as installing the Assessment and Deployment Kit add-on for the Windows pre-installation environment.